Hello viewers, Super GT here. So this is a GR Super GT Cup. So we have this sort of separate championship in Gran Turismo Sport where everyone is driving the Toyota Supra, as you can see here. So it's a one make championship. I was kind of going into this with really no expectations at all. I really just didn't know what to expect. As for qualifying, I qualified in 10th. Here I am on the grid. So the first race here is Fuji. 7 laps on the Sport Hard tyre, and with the 5 lights away now, we move away from the line, and it wasn't actually a good launch at all. As well, I had TCS on, not sure if that was the best option. I go down to 11th briefly. Now looking to turn 1, this is where things got quite interesting, because I just launched up into this little gap here. And actually, I think I caught them napping. That could have ended in disaster, really. But I think that was actually a really good move. Up into 7th, courtesy of that. So I gained 4 positions by just going into that space and going past. So let's see what we can do then on the remainder of the first lap. 7 laps. It's not too long a race, although the laps do take around about 2 minutes, or just under, in these cars. Looking for the space past King Leonidas. He's been revived and he is now playing Gran Turismo. When he's not fighting off the hordes of Persians, he's fighting off the hordes of Gran Turismo Sport players at Fuji. So another 2 positions gained, so going past Aura here. Now this kind of set the alarm bells ringing. What is going wrong? Yeah, I know that might be a weird way of thinking about it. I've just gone past 6 people on this lap, but what's going wrong? There must be something up here. The main thing that I was wondering really was the fact that I didn't do any practice runs for this race, so I don't know what the best strategy is. I'm presuming now at this point here it's too late to really change my strategy, but people may well be short shifting to save fuel to go for a no stop. My plan is to go for a 1 stop on the fuel, because with 7 laps, you see it there at the bottom right of the screen, I've already used, and by the time I get up to the end of the lap, I will have used probably 20% on this lap, which isn't enough to do the whole race on. But if you seriously short shift, then you could get to the end on 1 tank. So this kind of opens up this split strategy. So some of the people here clearly going for the short shifting and going for the no stop strategy, and I'm going to commit to going for the 1 stop strategy, and I won't be short shifting. So I'm just going to go full out and just see what I can do. So immediately at the start of this race, moving forwards, what I should do as a result of the extra speed from not short shifting, and another 2 positions gained here. So Nassini went a little bit wide at the exit of turn 1, and then Pescaro just short shifting, and again that's going to lose him a little bit of speed on the way out. So up the inside into 3rd, gone from started 10th down to 11th on the line, but then immediately up into 3rd place. So far the race has gone really rather well, but you can see here we do have still the close attentions of the Spaniard, and he will be in the slipstream, so he'll be able to keep up, although for how long we don't know, because again probably committing to that 1 stop strategy. So for those interested, this championship it's a 13 round championship. So from April through to August there'll be 13 different rounds. In fact, wait, I've got a list of the rounds here somewhere. So the next one is on May the 4th, Barcelona, then May 11th, Blue Moon, May 18th, Le Mans, and it goes through to September 7th. So I said August, but I actually mean September. Nürburgring 24-hour circuit, interestingly. So that'd be an interesting race for sure. So quite a different range of circuits for this championship, and the winner, the grand final, there's going to be a grand final for the top players, I don't know how many, but at the Tokyo Motor Show in October there'll be a grand final. What the winner gets I don't know, maybe a 5-second penalty, but that remains to be seen. Maybe even win a Toyota Supra themselves, who knows, I don't know. But I think just having a trip to Tokyo wouldn't be too bad. Just having the grand final, having a trip there, wouldn't be too bad. And this is actually quite a good development, you know. Even though this car, I mean, it splits opinion, and I mean, driving the road cars in this game, they do feel rather clunky compared to the race cars, as they would, obviously. But it's good to see these kind of championships being added into the game, because last year we had sort of the Nissan championship. Well, not so much a championship, but basically anyone who chose Nissan for their manufacturer, they basically had their own private little mini championship within themselves. And I actually got through on that because I chose Nissan last year, and I got through to the grand final, which was in Barcelona or Madrid, one of the two. And I was already occupied that weekend going to Mexico for the Forza Championship. But it's good to have these kind of things. It's just good to have these extra little championships where you can fight for something and go to a real life location. So even if you don't like the car, if you don't like the way it handles, at least it's an extra opportunity to have a trip to Tokyo or a trip around the world somewhere. And the more the merrier, I think. The more championships, the better. So where are we now? Still in third. The annoying thing here is I'm not in the slipstream of the guys ahead. So Zoka in second. He's in a good position there by being in second. He can fuel save a little bit more. We are going to go into the pits. Us top guys here, presumably. And by being in second, you can short shift a little bit more than the car in front. So at this point here, 40% fuel remaining. We've done 3 laps, so we're using roughly 20% per lap. So with 7 laps, that's going to be 140% of fuel, which obviously isn't enough on one tank. I'm going to have to definitely come in. I'm presumably going to do that at the end of this lap. So what is it? 100. Let me get my old calculator out and work this one out, because my maths isn't quite up to scratch at this exact moment. Where's my goddamn calculator on my phone? 100 divided by 7 equals 14.28. So you need to be using about 14% per lap. I'm using 20%, so about 6% too much, as I get a penalty there, running too wide on the exit of that turn, beyond the curb. Half a second penalty. So that is annoying, obviously. At least it wasn't a 5 second. But yeah, I'm using about 5.7% too much fuel per lap at this moment. So I'm going to have to definitely go into the pits. And that is quite a significant amount. To save that much fuel per lap, you do need to go significantly slower, even maybe go down into leaner settings through some of the turns, but short shift quite a lot. So that is the reason why I've gone through the grid quite easily. The fact that everyone's short shifting and I'm not. The 2 guys ahead, roughly even pace with me, although I've had a bit of a mistake on this lap. The penalty, of course, and I will have that penalty to serve just around this corner. So I've done a 57.9. Guy in second has done a 57.7, which is the fastest lap so far. So not too bad. Not too bad. The pace is good, given the strategy. So we're going to pull over to the right hand side, not only to take this penalty, but also to dive into the pit lane. So are we going to get passed by Nassini here as he comes up right behind me into the pit lane? So I'm going to cut across there. No penalties for that, although I did hit the wall. That might be a penalty, which will be very frustrating. So some of the guys there, looking at the percentage amounts, Nassini actually came in with 30%, so he's actually saved a little bit more than I have. I was 20 or 18, I think. So he's going to, well, we'll see. Is he going to get out ahead? Because it was very close. So I'm going to short fuel a tiny amount. But there is Nassini. He's jumped us as a result of, well, 1, the penalty. I had to slow down for that penalty. And then 2, he saved a little bit more fuel than I did. So fair play for him. So that kind of just shows you that one mistake coming out of the following turn here on the previous lap gives you the penalty, and then the penalty slows you down, and then the turn of events means that Nassini's now ahead. But this is where the race really changes. So of course we're on the fresher tyres. We don't have to short shift so much, so we can really attack now. It's our turn to really, well, we've been attacking the whole race, but it's our turn to attack once again, to come through the order, as we've got all the guys here who are just really nursing the car around. And I suppose that's just a modern aspect of motorsport, really. I'm not a fan of the really high tyre wear amounts in a lot of the FIA races, but this race is more sort of down to the fuel saving compared to the tyres. So they're nursing something at some point, and in this race it's going to be the fuel. So at this point here, 45% of fuel remaining. So yeah, I can just kind of go out all guns blazing with the pretty much 20% per lap still, whereas the other guys still on their 14.28% per lap. So they're still going to have to say quite a lot. Nissini looking up the inside. That's the thing about this final turn, especially this final sector really at Fuji, and Nissini does get the job done. It's very open to different interpretations of lines. It goes very wide. The last two corners, very wide entry, very wide circuit, wide corners. So normally you go a little bit wider to get a good exit, but that does leave you open to getting past on the way into the turn. So Nissini, he's through. I'm going to try to just tuck in the slipstream as best I can, looking for the braking board, which is pretty much halfway between the 150 and the 200, so 175 metres before the corner. So back into the slipstream of Nissini, well and truly. You see that was a really good braking zone actually, nailed the braking and gained up quite a lot of ground. And just in turn looking ahead, so we've got Unaleska just in 12th place there, who looks like he's having a tough time handling that Supra. So we're going to try to overhaul him as quickly as possible. And in fact, he went just maybe 1 pixel beyond the line. Looking up the inside of Nissini as he commits to the outside, the space opens up. I've gone for it, and then Unaleska in the middle. As quickly look on the radar, and with the exterior shot here, you see we're 3 abreast coming through down the hill towards the hairpin. Am I going to be able to get ahead of Unaleska? I think I am. He's not really going to fight it too much. Might be the sensible decision because it's only going to invite more trouble from behind for him. But now we can turn our attention to the guys ahead. There's a big group which we are slowly gaining up to. I'm in 13th. I started 10th. So if I can get back to 10th, I wouldn't be too displeased with that. So I do think the optimum strategy is to go for the fuel saving, no stop. Let's make a bit of a mistake there. But it is coming back to us here. So I think it is actually a very fine balance between the two strategies, which is quite good because it normally isn't that close. But maybe the no stop is a couple of seconds quicker overall. So the guys ahead, as we whip forward through the straight, it looks like Nissini's just jumped 2 guys there on the straight. It just shows you how powerful the slipstream is, and of course with that very long straight, that's going to help you a lot. So Juanito a little bit wide, he's not going to get as much traction off the turn. Up into 12th, looking past Tiger Haze now. Going to look up the inside, maybe force him into an error. He doesn't make it. He still clips the apex quite nicely with his Castrol Tom's classic livery. I'm getting Gran Turismo 1 flashbacks. Quite intense at this moment. So as we look beyond the Mount Fuji there, up the inside into the left-hander, can we get the job done? Looks like we can. The car is squirming all over the place, so I'm struggling with the tyres. Wouldn't want to think what these guys are struggling with, because of course they haven't stopped. So up into 11th, 1 positions to go to reclaim our grid slot of 10th. Can we go about doing that? Nissini's had a really good run here at the end of the race. He's up to 9th, looking for 8th. So he's not done too badly. I think if this race was 1 more lap long, I think the 2 strategies would have been pretty much evenly balanced. By this point here, the 1 stop is just maybe a couple of seconds off. Although it's hard to say exactly what would have happened if I hadn't pitted and gone for the conventional strategy, which most people have done here. Up the inside, a bit sideways, all over the place, but I've reclaimed the 10th position. And you can see the full extent of the grid there. It's actually a very close race, and that is what is going to happen typically in a one-make race. So I'm looking forward to more of these rounds. And I'm not normally someone who goes for these single-make races. Not normally, or should I say, the road car races. But you know what? That wasn't too bad at all. It was a good little run there. It's a weird race because of the strategy, the mixed strategy, but I enjoyed it. Finishing 12.5 seconds off of the lead, and just looking at that, I would have thought, yeah, that the no stop was definitely the quicker way to go. Popsu and Zoka, they also pitted and they finished 3rd and 4th, so it was quite well balanced actually between the two. But there we go. I do hope you have enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how your round went, and let me know your aspirations for this championship. Whether or not you're just in it for the lols, or maybe to actually qualify for the final. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.